Okay. Hi, this is Roland, a sponsor of What is the Positive and the 30-day manifestation challenge for manifesting what we want in life. And I've decided to broadcast a little early. It was scheduled for 10 o'clock, but WeWake was saying that he might drop in. So just in case he's got an earlier segment of schedule availability, I'm going to go ahead and start now, and you can join me if he wants. I'm going to send him the link. Matter of fact, I'm actually going to send the link to all of our constituents eventually. I guess from the event, I can't actually send the green room invitation to a circle, but I can do the individuals. So I'll start with WeWake because he checked in already. And that invitation's gone out to him. Now let's see if I can do this by memory. I will do Julie. I will add VLAN. I will add Lowell Ann. I will add Deborah. And I will add Misty. Whoops. And let's see who else came in. WeWake, and I'm forgetting somebody. I know I shouldn't be, but I am. So I'll do.
Namaste.
Oh, good morning, sir. What time is it over there? It's not good morning, probably.
It's evening, but yeah, that's one of the reasons why I use Namaste, which has nothing to do with
Right.
time.
Very good. So I've got one more person to invite, and then I'll actually have to ping my green room constituents also. But I want to remember Roz, just in case she might be up right now because she said she would try.
Mhm.
So thank you for joining me, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm having fun with this event. I'll show you, since you're the first one here, that let's see if I can get my arm up that high.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Deborah Burden, how are you?
I'm fine. Now, yeah, you guys are busy today. What's up?
Oh, this is what we're gonna do every Sunday, just for a few minutes, 30 minutes or so, and just congregate as the challenge partners and challenge constituents to give us an update, give us encouragement, and just touch bases as we're going.
Got
So,
you. Got you.
can you both see? Let's see if I can get my hand up high enough. Uh, uh,
Greg, you got a few minutes?
Yeah.
I want to introduce you to Roland. I'll send you the link to the hangout.
I can almost get my hand up high on it. Let's see.
Oh,
Not quite.
Roland, I have someone I want to introduce you to. Is it
All right.
okay if I invite him to this hangout in a minute?
Yeah. Watch what I'm doing now. Ready?
oh.
You see that?
Mhm.
What is?
My finger is lifting. Watch my hand.
Mm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's great.
Now, one of the problems is that when I'm doing that, I'm pulling my arm up, and that tightens my muscles, and the initial response from my arm is to tense, so that my muscles contract, and my hand makes a fist. So I'm trying to raise my finger against that, so it's a little bit tougher even. But
Oh,
anyway,
you know what? I didn't even know you had paralysis in your limbs.
oh yeah, I'm roughly divided down the middle, and I'm in a wheelchair, and I've been here for almost 4 years now. So we've got
Gotcha.
Gregory.
Yes, Greg, this is Roland.
Hi, Greg.
And this is and Roland, this is Greg. I've been telling him about you, and I said I wanted to introduce the two of y'all.
Very
Pretty
good.
much do the same things, and I was telling him about the challenge I'm in with you guys.
Yeah. And by
So
the
I
way,
don't know if
we
it's
want.
still open to add people or if Greg wants to get in, but this was an opportunity that we is informal. So I said let me see if he come in and I could at least introduce y'all.
Absolutely. I would love the Hangout challenge to become unmanageable. And I'm
Become
okay with
what?
that. Unmanageable. I mean,
Unmanageable?
yeah, the more people that do it, the more success stories we're going to have, and the more
Right.
reaction and results we're going to show because people do it, not because it's waiting to be done. It's because we intend to make a change in our lives, and that's what's going to manifest the things that we want. And
Right.
by the way, there is nothing wrong with wanting in life. That's all a part of the abundance stream. That's all a
Mhm.
part of what God meant for us in the first place. So any restriction that we have consciously or emotionally or anything, um, is really kind of self-imposed.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I was saying the other day, was it yesterday? Uh, I'm saying stress is your karma. You
It's
Stress
it,
is
create the
your karma.
stress.
yes, it's instant karma because stress is not an obligatory state of consciousness. It's
Yeah,
something that we add on. It's an optional thing. And really, it's like it's part of the figment of our imagination, if you will,
yeah,
because we think that we can't handle it. And God said He won't hand us more than we can deal with,
Can
right?
endure.
He's
Right.
He's not going to give us something beyond our limits. And how does He know that for sure? I believe because anything is possible, and that if He hands you something that you want, it's part of God's gift to the universe and to each of us individually that we can have what we want. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. And so when we start imposing limits and saying, well, that no one's ever done that, or we can't do that, or no man can't fly,
mm,
and if
Mhm.
you get in a boat in 1492, you may just sail off the edge of the world. I mean, what we believe at one point doesn't necessarily pan out as time goes on.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming that the realities that we think are real right now are going to transform before our eyes as
Mm,
God divulges more and more of what the universe is versus what we think it is.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that one. Because as I learn more and more um, about what has been hidden from us and uh, how religion has, branded us to think one way and really not study the scriptures the way they were spiritually inspired. We're all walking in fear.
Wow, we got Roz Betts live too. Hi, Roz. How you doing?
So
Well,
Hello.
I'm pretty impressed by all of this. Um, I figured I'd probably be by myself. It is Sunday after all, and well, is it Sunday for everybody there? We wake. You're still in Sunday, right?
Yeah, for me it is Sunday. For
And Roz is.
Ross, I think it is already Monday.
Yeah, I think it's Monday morning for you.
well, let me ask you a question, Roland. You say, well, it is Sunday. Was that on the basis of people practicing their religion on Sunday?
No,
Oh, okay.
for me,
Okay.
every day is a day to practice
Right.
spirituality and belief systems
Right.
and your focused real self. And I don't believe in being what you are to get by all week and then Sunday or the proverbial Sunday go put on your best suit of clothes and your best face and wash up, comb your hair, and this
It
is the
becomes
real me.
it becomes an act. It becomes
Oh
a
yeah,
pretense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with
yeah.
you.
So
It
this
has
is
to
the
be
way.
part of you. It has to be you
Yeah,
right
I
through.
think I think that's a song, right? It has to be you.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there is a song out like that.
yeah, Harry Connick Jr. made it famous.
Yeah.
But anyway, looks like this is great. The only reason that I'm here today on a Sunday is that I want to be around for people to check in like this and speak their mind, just share some thoughts, and feel encouraged by the fact that we are taking on a challenge. We're on day 6, so we're about 1/5 of the way through, or approximately thereabouts. And regardless of whether we can recognize differences in our beings or not, we are in motion with the energy that will transform us. And it's up to us what we turn this into and how we
Mhm.
amp it up. And when we show ourselves the evidence between now and the end of 30 days, we're going to see that, by golly, this is something that we intended in ourselves. And maybe this is what our goal was, and that's not exactly what I see as a result. But look what we did. Look what happened. And
Mhm.
sometimes less and sometimes more will be in the results. We have to be open to that.
Mm.
So I'm uh, encouraging people to be open about how they evaluate the goal, not to be rigid about I've got to do this, because that is implying resistance. Just in
Mhm.
the stress of feeling like, God, if I don't play the guitar in 30 days, I'm going to be really disappointed. Well,
Mhm.
I'm in that sort of an aspect. I am defeating myself
Mm.
because I am living in the anxiety and the stress of not making it, and I have to live in the focus and the being of having already achieved what I want to achieve, and
Yeah.
that's what makes me open to it.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it does make a lot of sense. That.
Yeah, it is the one thing that I think, if you want to call it a mistake, it's one misnomer that people have, and that I wrap it up in a few different ways. One of the ways is to say worrying never helps. I
Yeah.
mean, okay, so they say, well, how can you be so happy and positive and so forth? Don't you see what's going on? Sure, I do. But don't you see all the terror and things happening? And aren't you afraid of this stuff? And aren't you this? And aren't you that? And it's just like, well, I could be, but I just believe that I have the power to change it in my life. And whatever the case is, if worldwide, if people want to live in terror and do that, yes, we as a mass group can manifest that. But any one of us can be a beacon of light and shine with the positive, shine with the love, and let the light congregate around us and let that take over the earth instead of the terror and the fear and so forth. So
Mhm.
it's like, instead of battling the problem, let's be part of the solution.
Yeah.
That's,
Solution.
you know,
I agree
Mm.
with that. That what you're saying there. It
yeah.
does get consuming when you do take the time to look at what is transpiring as a plan. I see a lot of the things that are going on right now has actually been designed by a plan to dummy down depopulation and the scarcity of resources on this planet that is being fed to people is actually by a plan that they did it intentionally as far back for me as I seen when they took the farms from the farmers in the 80s so they could control the food.
Mm.
Um, and people
Uh,
were saying there, but see, people can do something about it. That's the part that they're not understanding. You can do something about it by creating your own garden, and you can
Yeah.
barter between each other.
well, what you just said reminded me of a movie that I saw.
Uh huh.
I think it is called Adjustment Bureau. Uh,
Just what?
Adjustment Bureau.
Uh
Adjustment
huh.
Bureau.
So
Oh,
they
just Bureau. Okay.
it's exactly as you said. So in that movie, the story goes something like this: that there is a they are saying they have a plan for the entire Earth and humanity, and these people who are not human, but that's the whole story. They manipulate things to um, adhere to the plan that they have. So if something goes differently, they manipulate it again, and
Well, the more people that take, the more people that learn more information about
Yeah.
taking control of their own responsibility, not control, but responsibility for their own life, and know what they want and walk in love. I believe we will defeat them.
Yeah,
And
it's
the key for me. Go
I
ahead.
always sorry, I always believe that blame always gives away the power. Any
Power.
power
I
that
agree
you
with you.
have,
Yeah.
I
you are
agree
just
with you.
giving it away. Blame it on someone else, something else. That's it.
Yeah, you're not taking responsibility for
You
your
have
role.
relinquished your power to that whatever that is or whoever that is, and
So much of the time we build around our own parameters for what we consider our reality. It has to be that way because what we believe, that's that's our reality. If you
yeah,
believe you're a victim, nothing's going to change that. You're going to be a victim. And
Mm-hmm.
when you say I am a victim, this has happened to me, this has happened to me, this is all the proof that I'm a victim. Well, then you have basically molded your consciousness around your reality. And there's nothing that's going to change that. You can take the happiest millionaire on earth and put them side by side and say, I'll give you half my wealth. And that person's still going to be a victim because inside they believe
They
they
believe
can
they're
live.
a victim. Yeah.
Yeah, and believing that victim is.
there was actually there was a uh, case here in the UK. There was a person who won the lottery. I think it's quite a substantial amount, 19 million or something like that,
Sure.
20 million or something pounds, and he lost it all. He was actually a refuse collector.
I'm not
um,
surprised to hear you say that.
he won the lottery, but then he squandered the whole lot away. He squandered the whole 20 million away, and then he went back to being a refuse collector again.
Mhm.
You know, well, that was his lot in life because that was his vibration.
Yeah,
But I believe that we can well, we can all change that.
Yeah.
However,
But
we can
it's,
also.
it's taking responsibility. When he
Yes.
won the money, he didn't take the responsibility to learn financial literacy so he know how to handle the money.
yeah.
He got excited and he got in his emotion and just went out there living life large, not
Mm.
realizing it's not, you got it just as easy as you got it, it can be taken away because you're not showing the appreciation of it, of how to learn how to manage it. And that's statistically, most lottery winners within 18 months are in bankruptcy.
Yeah.
It's
And
crazy, but it's true.
there's something about the concept of responsibility that is hugely missing in our world, and that is responsibility. If it's something that you are going to assume, is not. It doesn't just start now. It's looking back to your entire life and saying, okay, somehow I am responsible for all of my life, not just from here on out, some change that I made. Because the change only happens in your consciousness and your awareness of the fact that you are indeed responsible, whether you knew it before this moment or not. When you are responsible, you go, ah, I get it. So I can take responsibility for everything that I've done prior to now and say, I did it. I'm responsible. I'm also guilty at times. I did some good stuff, but it was me. I made the decision to live my life the way I
Mhm.
did. And in
Mhm.
that respect, you say, okay, I'm responsible. I take full accountability and responsibility for everything that I've done. When you actually achieve that, then you can't look back and say, I blame so and so and I'm blaming so and so. Because guess what? You did it. You're responsible. And so when you
Mhm.
can't blame anybody else, all of a sudden there is not this factor in your life where you can even point the finger at somebody else. But the good part about it is if this is the case, that means that I have the power, and solely I have the power to change that which is in my life. So
It's
it's empowering. It's not just taking responsibility and accountability. It's like claiming your power. I did this far. It was all my fault, or it's all my responsibility. Now, guess
Actually,
what? It's
actually,
me.
You know, they teach that very thing to child survivors of child abuse.
Yeah,
That very thing is taught forgiveness. My journey of forgiveness, and see how it is collated with teaching children that are survivors of child abuse. So many children were victimized, but they hold that victimization because they want to blame the person that abused them, and not realizing in the moment where you are right now, you have the power to change that by taking responsibility for your life from that point on. You can't change what's already happened. But if you take responsibility for your life right now, where you are, you can change all of that where the pain won't be ingrained because you'll replace it with love.
Let's take that a step further. The only place that we have any power consciously and spiritually and vibrationally to change our life, the only place is the right here and now.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that is
Any
so.
time before this time, we are powerless. Any time in the future beyond this, we are powerless. But we're here now. So whatever we're vibrating right now, we are attracting and we are building and we are expanding the vibration of our consciousness in the thought and in the feeling that we have right here and now. So why
Mhm.
should not we be rejoicing 24 hours a day? I don't care if you're awake or if you're asleep or if you're doing this or doing that or working or playing or creating or patting a kid on the head, whatever you're doing, why shouldn't we be vibrating in the very best positive vibration we can all the time?
Mhm.
And yet
Roland,
people
I think
live
a
in
lot of that is missed because when you're a victim, it's very hard to work from forgiveness and learn to love you just the way you are
yeah, I don't doubt that the
and grow
people who
from there. So many people are not taught or shown that you got to love yourself. People walk around talking about I love you, and they don't even love themselves.
You're absolutely right. It starts with the self. And I'm not talking about selfishness the way people say, oh, that guy's really selfish. You were having a discussion the other day, and the two of you were in there talking about the concept of greed and concept of, the whole concept of, what am I trying to say? What the negativity is surrounding the concept of greed. And wealth and no wealth, or money and no money, do not determine greed. It's your attitude around this concept and what you do with it. And that's
Yes,
what determines the greed, not the fact that you're wealthy. A wealthy person does not have to be greedy.
exactly.
And so it's all in the state of mind and what you do with it. And even beyond the judgment of people saying, well, he spent his money terribly and he donated to this cause. Oh my gosh, and he never even addressed that cause. And people are going to judge us no matter what.
Hmm.
However,
You
whatever.
got to keep free rent out of your head. People with opinions, it's just an opinion, and it's an opinion that applies only to them, not to your life.
Exactly. And I have a strong opinion, and I voice it all the time. I talk about it in the Saturday morning Marketing Smarties. I say I'm very opinionated because I don't agree with the masses on so many subjects regarding internet marketing. They all talk about this or that, and the numbers game, and it's all about the percentages and the conversion and how to get the guy to buy. And like, well, what
Yeah,
if they don't want your thing?
exactly.
They're not going to buy your thing if they don't want your
I
thing.
can relate to what you're saying. I have trouble hearing these gurus that do the
Oh,
same thing. They teach you this funnel stuff,
there.
and
I'm sorry,
that's not
Deborah.
in long lists. That's not building relationships.
99% of those people are not in the business to help you get rich. They're in the
Exactly.
business to help them get
To get
rich.
rich. They're in the business to get rich.
That's right. And while they're
Ross has
supposedly
remained
showing you,
very silent.
eh? Well, it has been a bit hard to get the word in. I have tried hard.
Roz, you are so genuine. I love you. When you go ahead and take the stage because I could talk like this forever.
Yeah, oh, yeah, and that's fine because once we do get our thoughts around something and we're eager to share it, it is very hard to hear that someone else might be wanting to say something as well. You know, it's a bit of an awareness thing, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
I apologize because I'm a lot like Roland. I could talk.
Hey, that's fine.
And that's something I'm working on, believe me.
Yeah. I think when you said powerless, Roland, was when I sort of thought, hey, no, we are always in our own power. It's whether we're actually deciding to use it at that point in time. It is what my understanding is of it because, you know, we are responsible for ourselves. We are responsible for each and every action in every present moment that we have. So to say that we're powerless to me just seems, no, we can make those decisions at that time. If we don't, well, it is something that is part of what is the consequences, because everything we do, we are responsible for our own actions. We choose either to decide or not, because even in the not deciding is making a decision, if you get what I mean. That's that
Absolutely.
bit of a, you know, that roundabout. But
let me ask you briefly. I'm sorry.
Well, I just think people do forget that everything that they do, whether they decide something or not, whether they decide to use their power of choice or not, it is consequence, and that's what is forgotten a lot. There is consequences in every action, and you know, it's learning to be a bit more thoughtful and mindful around what is the potential of what we're doing each step of the way, and how it affects others.
So I have two things. First of all, I wanted to ask you, did I use the word powerless, and how did I use it, in what context? Because I don't believe in powerless at all.
Now I can't remember. It's gone. It's moment gone.
I may have used the term, but I did not imply, or I didn't mean to imply, that people can be or are powerless. I don't believe that for a second. So I might have been mocking the concept.
No, yeah, I can't quite remember, but I mean that's where sometimes, because we do get caught up in our own stuff, sometimes we don't hear what else is going on around us as well. And as it's meant to be, we cannot be completely 100% mindful of the everything, or hearing the everything that's around. Otherwise, we'd go nuts, because our brains couldn't handle that.
I don't think anyone ever said the word powerless, but it can be one's perception of what is being said, that it based on their, you understand what I'm saying, their knowledge base or words. She may have interpreted what we were saying as being a means of powerlessness, because I don't think anybody used that word.
Well, I was using the words like I am a victim, I'm this, you know, declaring
her
the state of power.
interpretation may be powerless when you say victim.
No,
so that's the thing I'm learning.
No, actually, I had heard powerless as a word, but it was not. You know how you can put your emphasis and your strength on particular words that you really want people to hear, or the parts that's in part of conversation that you don't hear.
I very easily.
For some reason, it's a word I heard, and wanted to say, no, I don't agree with you there, Roland, but you kept talking, and it was very. That's okay. That's okay.
To go ahead and address that, I probably wouldn't be running this or encouraging this challenge if I thought there was a possibility of being powerless, because I believe that we are totally determined human beings, and we decide for ourselves how we're going to be, and part of that is people deciding that they can be a victim. And if they can be a victim, or they believe that they can be a victim, they are indeed going to reinterpret part of what happens in their life as being a victim. And victim is definitely a negative vibe. So have things happen to me? Sure, I could attribute a lot of things that have happened to me as me being a victim, but I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Now, the other thing is that amidst these things, amidst the awareness factor of I don't have to be powerless, I don't have to be a victim, there's this one thing that people usually or quite often don't grab onto and make full use of, and that is their intention. Because if they intend to do something, that's the spark that starts the movement of changing their own lives. You don't change your life at all if you don't have some intention to improve, to survive, to love someone, to do a favor, to help someone. When you have some kind of intention, that's a forward motion.
Would you use the word, when you say the word intention, can that be correlated with the idea of motive?
Yeah, but motive, I don't much care for the word at all. And
Uh-huh.
the reason is that motive uh, tends to have a negative taint to it.
Gotcha.
Motive is like it's used in the crime movies all the time. What's his motive?
Mm.
Why
Mm.
did he do something that broke the law? Why did he do something that hurt somebody? Why did But intention and inspiration, those words are completely different. They're in the positive vein. If I were to draw a line down the middle and we put the words over here that were negative and the words over here that were positive, motive would definitely be leaning towards the negative side.
Gotcha.
And that's why I don't like the word motivation versus inspiration. If you're motivated, that means you need a nudge. It's like you're not really in motion. You're not really compelled to do it for yourself. So you need a little bit of motivation. You need that hand on your shoulder or on your butt, tapping you along, pushing you forward so that you'll achieve it. And then you're inside, you're thinking, okay, I'll do it. But when you're inspired, you're like, I want to do this. I have to do this. This is what I meant to do. I'm going to do this. And the determination is so distinctly more positive than anything that is motivating. When something's motivating, it's pushing against resistance. If
Mm.
you're inspired, that comes from within, and whether you're a little bit inspired or a lot inspired, it's all positive.
Gotcha.
At least that's my wrap on that.
That makes sense.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and it's actually very interesting how words themselves can have so much power just in that small difference in how you understand the word between motive and oh god, it's gone blank.
Inspiration.
That's the one.
But in my view, I think words themselves don't have any meaning. It's a meaning that you give.
That you give. Yeah, I agree with you there.
That means something to you.
Yes. And what we do is
because
we
if I, for example, if I say a word in a language which you don't understand, that word doesn't mean anything to you, because word itself doesn't mean anything until you interpret it in a certain way.
or speak it. Because of course, when you speak it like Om, you have to admit that the word, when you speak that word Om, it has some vibrational power. Now, most of us are thinking, I don't know what it is, but it's pretty ominous. I don't know what it is, but there's something about the word Om, and I think it's connected to God's energy.
It's the vibration of the sound itself.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of whether you think of it scientifically or religiously or spiritually or what, it's got a vibration and it's got an energy to it, and that in that way, the Om word and the sound itself have something distinctly similar, and people, no matter what, if they can't describe it, they still identify it and they feel it. So I think that's fascinating. So in that respect, all words have some kind of vibration when spoken, but it is indeed exactly what you were saying, Weewake. It's the intention and the definition and the feel that we add to it that makes the word what it is for us.
It's interesting too. It doesn't even have to be words to give us a feeling. I was watching something on the YouTube. It was one of those sorts of the best acting wherever it was, the audition type show. And it was a gentleman who got up there and was using his mouth to make beautiful sounds and sing, and just the vibration of that by the time he'd finished his performance, it wasn't even that. Gosh, it was like a cosmic experience. The sound that he was making, and it wasn't even actually words, but how you could understand what he intended with what he was doing with his mouth and those sounds. And everybody there was mesmerised in the audience and whatever, because they always scan and have you look. And you said, wow, the experience at the finish of it, if we could only listen better to each other and, you know, understand that way, taking that time to really listen to people.
Yeah.
That's a key component of everything, is truly hearing what someone is saying. Because a lot, I know for myself, I've been in a conversation and been so busy in my head, you know, forming the words that I want to say when they get through talking, that I actually don't hear them. And once I identified that was a flaw, I began to recognize that I need to listen before, you know, really think out before I open my mouth and talk. I still am weak in that area, but I'm working on it. I ordered a book to get to learn how to be a better communicator. And I'm listening to what the guy is saying. It's the audio book. And I've made all the mistakes, you know, and it's not going to be easy to fix. But if I stay conscious of it, then I can, you know, turn that around. And I believe that. I want to be a better communicator because I want to do workshops. And in order for me to do workshops, I want to speak words that are powerful and are positive and that will radiate with the majority of the class. Won't radiate with everybody because you can't please everybody. But if you can speak it in a way that most can interpret what you're saying on the same level, I feel I'll be very successful at what I'm choosing to do.
You know, one of the things, as you're speaking what you were saying, if you're going to be consulting with a group of people at a time, as you say, you can't please everybody all the time. However, in the process of listening, you'll be able to hear what's going on and relate to them, and it's all about the relationship you build with your group of people. There's a completely different dynamic of one-on-one versus 5-on-1 or whatever, 1-on-5. And when you have the group of people and you're listening to the group, sometimes you will be focusing on one or two or the minority and saying the very thing that's going to help them most. And everyone's going to look on and say, ah, that was good for so-and-so. Or they're going to sit there and go, I don't really get it. You know, but that doesn't matter because you're helping what needs to be helped at the time. And the listening thing, I've had to deal with that a lot, and especially on my show, the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties, I've got some brilliant people sitting around me, and I do not, by any means, know it all, so I defer to them quite regularly. And sometimes in a show, my whole job is a mission of curation of what's going on and organizing the flow of information, because some of it I know, but I've got people speaking it, so I have to let go of that and say, I know it, but it doesn't matter if I'm telling the world so-and-so's in motion, and I'm just going to look about what's going to come up next, how this connects the pieces together, and some comments that maybe people aren't getting in the midst of this that I would like to emphasize, but then get back into the flow and just help the flow. So I've become a better master of ceremonies, so to speak, because of this, because I'm listening to the overall and try to control comment tracker and everything else as we go. Can be quite a job, but I most certainly am trying to pay attention to the people in the stream too, and because the people have a lot of great stuff to contribute. And I miss so much of it because it's going by so fast, and I'm conducting this presentation, so it's hard to say, oh, so-and-so said something important and we don't want to miss that, and then the conversation goes off on something else, so I got to bring it back to our focus subject. So there's a lot to it, but to be a curator, you have to get the overview, which means my voice becomes less, but that's the only way I can do my job.
Yeah. Well, and that's the blessing of Google Plus. When you're in Hangout on Air, you can go back and review what you've done, and address certain issues in the next podcast. I'm learning that too, because everybody who's not on the live call will leave comments or statements or questions and then I can address in the beginning of the next podcast from the last, and then pick up from there and move forward.
Go ahead, Roz. You had something to say?
Yeah, with having the ability to replay and review what you've actually done in a Hangout on Air or podcast or whatever your medium, it takes away that the negative bit of as far as mistakes go. Like, I watch what we do with Lights Camera Hangout on Airs. I watch it back just to see what do I muck up this time, just to learn from it, not really to be self-deprecating or anything like that. It's just what's an improvement that I can do. So I suppose I look more at things as, instead of being mistakes or negatives in stuff, it's always just an opportunity to learn something better, different, or otherwise keep moving forward, I suppose, without getting bogged down. Like you said, the negative really does hold us down if you let it. Yeah, but going back to learn more and more from what we do, that's it. That to me is the only time for reflection, really. It's what was the lessons in stuff, and then keep looking forward, moving forward. I don't know how I got onto that one that way, but that's all right. That's how conversation goes in my brain.
So I have an opinion about the negatives.
It probably was.
And the
I
concept.
Mistake, I think. Yeah, I thought it's not a mistake. Listen.
Yes, you were addressing the concept of going back and reviewing what was said, not for the purpose of getting down on yourself, but to look at what you did and seek avenues of improvement. And this is a concept that I really hold very close to myself. A Japanese concept was called Kaizen, Kaizen. And Kaizen basically implies the same thing that Anthony Robbins teaches. He says constant and never-ending improvement, CANI. And the funny thing about it is when you read out the acronym CANI, it's can I. Can I is a question. So about maybe a decade ago, I took Anthony Robbins' acronym, and I turned it into ICAN, improvement, constant and never ending. And now it became a statement. I can, And I thought, what an idiot! I can't believe that he. Oh my gosh, this is recorded, and I called Anthony Robbins an idiot. No, well, he didn't an idiot. But I mean, I could never figure out why he didn't use the acronym I can, which is empowering, which is a command, which is a declaration. It's totally positive, right? So anyway, my acronym that I've been using for most of a decade is I can, and I'm a believer of that. What if you think you can, and you believe you can, you can. So I call it the CBA, the CBAs of manifestation. If you conceive, and if you believe, then you can achieve. So we covered that just a few days ago. And the concept regarding what we were talking about there is that the one term now that you were talking about, Rosalind, and but anyway, it's an empowerment thing that if we decide that we are less than the absolute truth of our achievement, then that's a measurement of how much we're going to miss it. That's a definite measurement. We limit ourselves. Anything is possible, and even our skeptic atheist Dan believes anything is possible. But for him, it's a matter of what is probable. What are people going to try to achieve? What do they believe they can achieve? What do they believe we can achieve as a group or as the human race? Then that describes what is possible. And not whether it's ultimately possible, but it's like more addresses what is our intention? What are we going to do? What do we choose to accomplish? And that's the bigger question. So I don't think it's about, gee, God means for me to do this in life or that in life. It's like God means for us to do, well, exactly what we want to do for our kids. We want to empower our kids to be the very best and the greatest that they can be. Well, that's all that God wants for us.
Yeah.
Why would it be any different? A good father and a good mother want the same thing for their kids that God wants for us. Only amp that up to the ultimate. Anything is possible. Do what you want.
Yeah, and it is our choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So about the same decade ago, I decided that there are only challenges and opportunities. Nothing is impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I feel like I'll be playing the guitar in 25 more days. And so, just to get back around to that, before we go on, Gregory, we've kept you totally silent with your microphone off. How are you getting along with these bunch of people jamming the microphones?
Well, I've just been sitting back and listening because, as Roz said, I couldn't get a word in.
Well, please take the mic and enjoy yourself with us.
Well, to be honest with you, a lot of what has been said would have been some of the same things I would have said. Attitude, how you look at life is extremely important. I like what Charles Swindoll once said. He said, "Life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it," and that's true. It's how we choose to respond to anything. Something can happen to me, and I can let it put me on my butt, and I can sink down in the mud and uh, drown in it, or I can, get back out of it. I was watching a movie recently, and the guy was telling a little story. He said, two mice fell into a pot of milk, and one of them very quickly gave up and just let himself drown, but the other one kept swimming around as fast as he could, and he turned that milk into cream and was able to crawl up out of the pot.
Yeah.
So it's all a matter of our attitude and whether we choose to accept when something happens to us or whether we choose to do something about it.
That's very good. I like Swindoll too. He's a good guy. Very good writer. Um, I heard a story myself, and I'll probably be wrapping this up soon because we've taken up 30, 40 minutes of your morning. But the story that I heard was that a man was somewhat drunk, and leaving the bar at night, he walked through to take a shortcut home, and he walked through the local graveyard. And lo and behold, there was an open grave dug for something preparing for the next day. So he falls into this hole, and it's like, oh my God, I fell into a grave. So he starts trying to dig out, but it's like, 6 feet or more deep. He's a little man. He's clawing on it. He's crawling and grabbing the sides, and he's falling back in. And just after a few minutes of that, he just got exhausted, and he goes, I can't do it. I just got to sit down. So he sits down and just figures, well, I just got to wait it out and see what happens. And then what the funniest thing was suddenly this other guy happens to be walking by taking the same shortcut, and the second guy falls into the pit and immediately does the same thing, starts climbing and crawling and grabbing the side of the grave, and he's just frustrating himself and falling back in and doing the same thing that the first guy did. And then finally the guy that was sitting in the back of the grave and watching on said in a low, disdained voice, goes, "You can't get out." But he did. Now, I don't know. I don't know why that's funny to me, but I think that joke is hilarious. Did anybody get it?
I better hearing that voice, not knowing they were there. He
Yeah.
fell away.
And
His
my
feet became an I can real quick.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, it's like we approach things from one direction and we think, there's no way. I mean, I've tried and we can't get out. But then as soon as we think creatively or just find the burst of energy of willpower demanding that we do something, there's a way to do it. There's a way, it can happen. So my objective is to figure out the way.
Mm.
Yeah, I heard another story that I thought was pretty good. It was where a donkey fell down into a well, and they couldn't figure out how to get him out, so they decided that the best they could do for him was to just go ahead and bury him alive.
Ah,
So they started throwing dirt down on him. Now, some people, again, depending on their attitude, might sit there and say, okay, and just let themselves be buried alive. But this donkey, he wasn't up for that. He realized that as they was throwing dirt in, he shook it off his back, and as enough of it gathered around him, he stood on it and stomped it down and stepped up. And as they continued to throw dirt on him, he slowly rose as the dirt slowly rose. Well, he got himself out of the hole that way.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's a great story, actually.
Yeah, it
That's a great
is.
story.
That's the one I was thinking of as you were talking about.
Hmm.
What you just said,
So no
Crow.
matter how much trash gets thrown at you, just stomp on it and step above it, and you'll be okay.
Yeah,
The moral to the story, that's a good one.
yeah.
Maybe we need to examine Aesop's fables.
Well, you get so much of the trash when you're, especially in network marketing. So many no's. You take the no's and keep stepping on them, and eventually you find a yes.
You know, the funny thing about internet marketing and network marketing is that we have to realize that the whole concept is basically, it looks like we're helping each other, but every individual is out for himself. And so,
Hmm.
and then you've got people who are more gracious and benevolent than the average, and they're not focused on just on the money, but actually sincerely helping people. And guess what? That works fine in most network marketing circles because you have to have the spirit in the right place, and any of those possibilities can work. Any network marketing scheme, if you've got a good product in the first place and not a hoax,
Right.
any of them can work, but it's just got to be the spirit behind it. And if people approach it like, I got to make a buck, I got to get a sale, I got to recruit people, everyone else can feel that vibration, feel your desperation, know that you're not
That's a
being
formula
sincere
to
about.
fail. Yeah.
They don't feel any connectivity to the person, no reason to trust, and obviously the possibilities of failure are great. So,
Mm.
it's like network marketing. You can have a great idea, but like, can we get behind it? Can we get our spirit behind it? Can we feel good about what we're doing and what we're sharing? And can we execute the process without feeling bad about what we're doing to our friends and family and all that? It's got to be the right thing.
Mm.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I've worked with a number of network marketing companies. One in particular I think about was a guy who was doing so well. He was making 60,000 per month off of just one stream of income within the
Wow.
company, and he was actually making a lot more than that through other streams. But most of them were all about the money. It wasn't about how can I brought you on board to help you succeed. Well, you're not helping me succeed, so bye.
Hmm.
End of friendship.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I found that's what their motives were, back to the famous words you were using, motives. When I found that's what their motives were, I walked away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I walked away from them.
And there are people that have the so-called formulas that the tried and true formulas, and they probably work fine if you can stomach the attitude and you can match the degree of motivation needed and do what needs to be done. Sure, you can be successful, but you really have to care less and not more about what you're doing with the relationships with the people. And that's
Hmm.
part of my problem. I ultimately only care about the relationships. And if we do make money together, great. But
Mm.
the relationship counts first. And I would rather
Yeah, the relationship has to count above the money
yeah.
because the formula may not be for both at the same time, but it doesn't change the fact it could be something later that out of the relationship will come something better. So, you hear so many people say you got to build relationships, but I'm clueless in how putting thousands of people on a list, there's a relationship with 1,000 people, and you don't really know them, really see them. And I've slowed myself down to the point of getting to know a person, in the process, because I followed the same, thing they were throwing out there, and I wasn't doing any good in anything because it was that duplicating that chasing the dollar. But as I slowed down and asked myself, what's really important here? The relationship has to come first, and not pushing somebody into doing something that whatever it takes to get them there is what you're going to have to keep doing to keep them there, or they walk away.
Yeah, they did a study with doctors one time looking at lawsuits, and they found that the doctors who had the best relationships with their patients had the fewest lawsuits compared to those who were basically just there running patients through on an assembly line. They had the highest lawsuit ratios.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah, especially in the medical industry. Yeah,
well, that's in any business, I think. I think in any business, if we focus on helping people first, we're going to be on a better footage no matter what. That's why in Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties, it's an education-based program, and I don't let my people, and nor do I, pitch anything to the people, because if they want to know something, they're going to ask me, but I don't have to list my weekly special in order to make a few extra bucks or lure a few more people in. Because of that, I have more people that watch the show because I'm unintimidating regarding what I pitch and what I think that they should buy from me. Nobody knows what those things are, but I have developed a few clients, and they're formidable clients, and they pay on time. They're glad to pay me. They make sure that I've been paid enough. It's really a reverse of what the average monetary device is based on, and it's just like I prefer it that way. I don't have dozens of clients. I have the few, but I have a few good ones, and I'll build off of that. And what you were saying, Deborah, about the having 1,000-person list, the days of the unlimited list and barking at lists and playing the law of averages and the percentages and numbers game with lists are really numbered. Now, the thing to do with lists nowadays is to have a focused list and good communication with those people. So you could have 1,000 people on your list instead of 50,000, and make more money and be more impactful on your own pocketbook than when you had the big list. Because as you said, the big list you can't contact and be real for 10 or 15, 20,000 people.
Right.
A guy that was on my show this last year said you can seriously only control relationships with up to maybe on the extended version a couple hundred people. But so the idea is be the best leader that you can, and people will not just follow you, but they will become your secondaries, and they will become your brand ambassadors, and they will promote what you do. You don't have to promote yourself, but you do need brand ambassadors. So if you're going to grow in a corporation, you can't contact all those thousands of people yourself. So you have to have a team that all preach the same message. And in that respect, you just got to be a good leader. You got to really believe in what you're doing, and then you got to be a good leader.
Yeah.
And
that
that's
makes sense.
the only simple formula for success.
But it makes sense to me what you just said. That is what I've struggled with, is not listening to that build a list, gurus, and actually redefine who I want to work with and build a relationship with.
Touch those closest to you, have solid relationships, and just let it grow. And it'll be a little slower. It'll be a slower movement, but it'll be way more valuable.
I think that's what me and Greg are working out with he's my sponsor in a better dog food company, and we've been going back and forth on how to reach customers, because I've come to learn as I reach out and pass out the samples. People that love their pets, they want the information. They want to know, and you just can't work it with everybody. And so we've been working on a better method.
I'll tell you what the better method is. The better method is you, because you do everything with a passion, and you're just really believable. So when you're talking about something, a better dog food, people are going to listen to you because they believe you. It's like,
Mhm.
wow, why is it better? Well, because of this and this and this. It's very simple. And when you
Mhm.
and sorry, we wake. He had to leave.
Mm.
He mentioned a little while ago, and we just been mouthing off and keep on going. But anyway, thanks, we wake. But if you have a better dog food, you just got to talk to the chosen few and let them fall in love with you, and then let them tell everybody else. Because people love sharing a really good
Good.
thing,
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
and everybody's going to want to share you. I brought you into the circles, and you're meeting other people through my circles, and I'm proud to announce you to the rest of the world and share with them that you and I met, and that I'm basically vouch for and endorse the relationship and show that to the world. And so now people are saying, "Oh yeah, that's Roland's friend," and
Mhm.
that's the way the thing goes. If people feel
Yeah.
friendliness to me, they're gonna accept you and then engage with you. And when they engage with you, they're gonna love you. So that's how that goes. Same thing
Thank
with
you.
Roz last
I
year.
too, with you, I've been sharing with some friends of mine. I met this really cool guy. I couldn't wait to tell Greg. I said, I want you to meet him. He's really nice. We have so much in common that I was surprised that
And
we've
he runs a show
experienced.
online just like me. It's fun. I've really had a great time with Hangouts, and I'm a diehard. I'm not ready to give them up yet. And I think that there's a future with Hangouts. And in the meantime, it's going to steer me along to something else, even if it does end.
Hmm.
Because I'm not going to stop broadcasting. I'll be going on to Blab or something, and
Or
they're going
whatever.
to invent new ones, and different things are going to come up.
Have you
Oh,
tried Lab?
Oh yeah,
See, you know what? That came after Google Hangouts, and I've tried several new things, and I always gravitate back to Google Hangouts because I have this belief that the relationship with Google is going to be more impacting and forceful in everything that I do, and it's just people. Google Hangouts uh, a very strong platform in my opinion, and it's
absolutely.
connected with YouTube. There's so many more steps you have to go through with these other platforms to get what Google already done for you. Once you finish, if it goes right to YouTube, and the links are there. I mean, it's so much more easier. I've gone to Blab. I've gone to I think it's Wave. I've tried about 3 other platforms.
there's a lot of them.
It's so many other steps I have to go through to get the recorded part of it on my YouTube channel that I said, why do I keep leaving Google Plus? Because this Google Hangout on air, I was here when it first picked up, fell in love with it. It's gone through some trials and tribulations, but it's getting better.
Mm.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I'm
So
gonna.
I'm sorry.
I'll piggyback off of what Roland was saying just a moment ago before Deborah spoke. In regards to relationships, I was listening to Danny Johnson about a month or so ago, and she made a perfect point that I hadn't really looked at it from that same viewpoint. But she said, our product is not our product at all. Our product is our people and the relationship we build with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, more in terms of, well, I've got products for people. I want to help people, but I hadn't really turned it quite like she had from that perspective, and I thought that was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Quite a few of my clients, when they've tried to master what can I sell on my website, I've said to them repeatedly, quit worrying about your product. You are the product. If people won't buy your personality, your intention, and your goals, and you as a person, they're not going to buy your stuff just because you have it. Everyone's got stuff for sale, and people can buy the stuff anywhere. Why are they going to buy it from you? And that's what I try to drive them to. And if they're not willing to step up to the plate a little bit and be who they are, real to the public, then there's a definite disconnect and a problem with the sales.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
tell them, go ahead,
So,
Ross.
yeah, even more especially when it's something that you're offering as a service rather than a product.
Absolutely.
With a service, you are the product. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've run a service business for many years, and I didn't really apply what I learned from my service business to the internet business, because in my service business, I've had the same clients for years and years and years, and I never lost any of them. And I've even had a couple of them who were high dollar clients who said, they came to me and told me, we've had people underbid you by 50%. And this was after many years, and I was like, wow, I said, and I'm still here. They said, well, yeah, we trust you. It's about the relationship we have. It's not about the price. And so I learned, through the service industry that was about relationships, and I wasn't, switching that over when it came to a product business instead of a service business. And it's all the same. Business is about relationships.
Yeah. That's excellent stuff. Well, you folks, I thank you for being with me and being with the challenge and sharing this great conversation. I never expected to have all of you together at one time. Roughly half of our contingency on the challenge was in this green room today, and that's perfect. So if we can do this once in a while, we're gonna do the events on Tuesdays, then we're gonna catch up, do a journaling on Thursday and on Sunday around my Friday and Saturday exploits. But we're gonna do 3 a week just to sit in if you want to. They're not mandatory, but we'll be doing it. And please join us whenever you can. And this 10 o'clock time slot seems to work pretty well. So thank you, Roz, for rising and shining early.
Oh, that's okay.
Where are you?
Yeah, well, I'm in South Australia, so when the little, it woke me up. The noise that the Hangouts thingy gives you a bell with or something like that. I could hear it from out in the lounge room, and it woke me up. And I thought, well, I'm obviously meant to be here, so it was.
Well, difference.
Yeah, dressing gown.
I was in Melbourne for an event, the Parliament of World Religions, and it's like a 12-hour difference, where we're PM, you'll be AM, and so on. Is that correct?
Yeah, 4:30 in the morning here. Where are you? You're Pacific time, Eastern time?
I'm Eastern.
Yeah, it's 15.5 hours we're in front of you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's 5:30 now. Whether I go back to bed or stay up, I don't know. I'll decide that shortly. I'm getting used to the time differences and being able to be aware in the back of my mind, listening for some of the noises that the computer makes, because I don't turn it off all the time. Mm-hmm. So that's just what woke me, and I get on here. I don't set an alarm. If I hear the little bell of the Hangout call, I'll get up. Otherwise, of course, I'm sleeping through it.
Well, thank you very much.
Beautiful country you have. I loved it when I was there.
It is. I haven't seen half it yet, honestly.
You know something I recognized in your country that is missing here? I mean, it really, that was the one thing that stood out to me. Was I was taking the public transportation to the venue, and there were some young men that were sitting down, and they got up and gave, the older generation a seat. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I was floored by it, because when you get on public transportation here, the young people don't even recognize that moral, that value of giving their seat to someone older than them. And you'll find older ladies that are standing up, barely holding on while the bus is moving. That it really impacted me when I saw that, because that was something that I was taught and was used to seeing when I was younger. But I don't see it today. These kids today are so rude and disrespectful, and to see that happen in your country, I was like, oh man, I really need to move here. I miss this. The respect they have for the older generation.
Yeah, I don't know how widespread it is, because I'm out in the country-ish. We don't have a great deal of public transport system, for much of the area. That's really only metropolitan. Different cities have different varied levels of frequency with the public transport. All interesting. I've got to drive wherever I need to go. So, cars are it.
I hope to one day get back over there. I want to go to Perth and Go to
Mhm.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I've only been through there once. My son actually, my youngest son lives at Perth, so but I haven't been over there yet. So
Okay, folks. I
that's
guess
it.
I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the
Yeah.
broadcast.
Okay. Thank you, Roland, for inviting
Thank
me
you,
again.
mate.
Of course,
Yeah.
you don't feel obligated to always show up, but I'm going to do this so that anyone that wants to can join in. We can talk and just continue with
I hope to make most of them, so we'll see.
Yeah,
I
thank
hope
you.
to.
Gregory,
Great,
thank you
thank
for
you.
joining in. Thank you very much for joining us.
Okay,
Thank you.
see you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we'll stop the broadcast. We'll see everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.